There is a tiredness that doesn't come from physical exertion, nor from days overly packed with concrete commitments. It's a different kind of fatigue, deeper, that creeps in silently. This weariness is rooted in the soul, in the heart that perceives every nuance of the world. It's the weariness of those who feel too much, of those who absorb emotions like a sponge. It's a condition often invisible to others, and sometimes even to ourselves. It manifests as a veil of heaviness that envelops the mind and body. This fatigue isn't a sign of weakness, as many might think. Rather, it's the result of a keen sensitivity, a deep connection with the surrounding environment. It arises from the emotional landscape of the world, from human interactions, from the energies that surround us. It is a tribute sensitive people pay to their very nature. It's important to recognize this tiredness for what it is. It's not laziness, it's not a lack of willpower, but a sign of emotional overload. Those with heightened sensitivity are deeply attuned to what goes unsaid. They perceive the subtle nuances of every human interaction. These people sense the emotional currents that flow beneath the surface, often unnoticed by most. They sense the unexpressed tensions in a room. They recognize the emotions hidden behind a forced smile or a fleeting glance. They identify inconsistencies in the environment, discordances between words and feelings. This ability to perceive the invisible is not a defect, but a form of intelligence. It is an emotional intelligence that allows us to read the heart of situations. It's also a relational intelligence, which facilitates a deeper understanding of others. It allows you to connect on a more authentic and meaningful level. This sensitivity is a precious resource, a gift that enriches one's perception of life. However, it also carries a burden, especially in a frenetic world. In a fast-paced world, sensitive people are constantly exposed to a relentless flow of information. Every environment leaves an indelible mark. Every relationship, even the most fleeting, deposits something within us. It's a continuous accumulation of emotional data, energy, and sensations. The unspoken words, the meaningful silences, the implicit expectations, all of this accumulates in the body and heart. It becomes a silent burden. Often, there's a strong pressure to suppress one's personal reactions. One tends to hold back emotions so as not to cause discomfort to others. The desire to maintain harmony or to avoid appearing too sensitive leads to hiding one's feelings. This prevents a healthy processing of experiences. Unexpressed emotions, unrecognized sensations, remain trapped. They become an invisible burden that weighs down existence. When emotional overload becomes excessive, the body begins to slow down. A physical fatigue is felt that cannot be explained. The mind becomes heavy, foggy, unable to concentrate clearly. Thoughts slow down, clarity diminishes. Motivation wanes, giving way to a sense of apathy and disinterest. Even activities that once brought joy lose their appeal. The cause of this fatigue is not a lack of strength or ability. It is not a character flaw or an intrinsic weakness. Rather, it's a fundamental lack of protection. The sensitive person is like a sponge without barriers, constantly exposed. This constant exposure makes her vulnerable and exhausted. There's no filter that can modulate the intensity of her perceptions. Emotional fatigue accumulates day after day, experience after experience. It's the seemingly insignificant, micro-experiences that create the greatest burden. If not recognized and managed, this fatigue can become chronic. It turns into a persistent state of exhaustion that's difficult to overcome. It's a self-perpetuating cycle, where fatigue makes it even more difficult to protect oneself. It's an urgent call for a change of perspective. The solution to this struggle isn't to harden ourselves, nor to become less sensitive. We shouldn't try to extinguish our most authentic nature. Attempting to repress sensitivity only leads to greater pain. It means denying an essential part of who we are, impoverishing our soul. The true path begins with cultivating a deep understanding of ourselves. We must learn to recognize our most intimate emotional needs. It's essential to accept our sensitivity as an integral and precious part of ourselves. It's not a flaw to be corrected, but a characteristic to be honored. Recognizing your limitations is an act of self-love. We can't absorb everything. We can't always be available to everyone. This leads to more conscious choices in everyday life. Choosing where to go, which environments to frequent, becomes an act of protection. Choosing who you spend your time with is crucial. Relationships that nourish us are different from those that drain us. Deciding how much of yourself to give, how much energy to invest, is a necessary boundary. It's not about selfishness, but about preserving one's essence. Fatigue, in this context, isn't a problem to be solved, but a signal to be heeded. It's a message our body and soul send us. It's a call for self-compassion, an invitation to slow down. It's the need to create space for emotional processing, to digest what we've absorbed. It's a profound need for self-care, for nourishment for a weary soul. This attentive listening is the first step toward true renewal. Listening to this struggle, embracing it without judgment, ushers in a new form of rest. It's not just sleep, but a rest that regenerates the entire being. This conscious rest leads to authentic renewal, a rebirth. It allows us to rediscover our energy, our clarity, our joy. Sensitivity, once understood and protected, can once again become a source of strength. It allows us to live with greater depth and authenticity.